Hi guys, welcome back to Phillip Draws Comics. I'm Phillip. That's my hand you see on the screen right now, drawing the picture in front of you. And today we're drawing Superman and Clark Kent. The dynamic between Superman and Clark is something that has always fascinated me. It's the original example of a secret identity, being that Superman's the original superhero, or at the very least the trope codifier. There are examples of secret identities in fiction before Superman, particularly the Scarlet Pimpernel. Tarzan wasn't really a secret identity, but he had a true identity as John Clayton, Lord of Greystoke, and he would go to England and deal with his business affairs in England, and then go back to the jungles of Africa and run around and have adventures as Tarzan. But it was kind of like an open secret. Clark is the first, to my mind, iteration of the nerd who would be king. What I mean by that is that Superman's creators, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, were basically comic book geeks before comic books existed. They were sci-fi geeks that were friends that lived together, or lived in the same town in Cleveland, Ohio. And they wanted to make comic books when they grew up, but as is kind of sort of classically the mold, that didn't get them a lot of girls in high school. So that's where the notion of Clark Kent comes from, is Jerry Siegel wondering, wouldn't it be cool if all these girls who, are rejecting me, what if they knew that deep down inside I was actually a really cool guy? And that's kind of where the Clark Kent Superman dynamic enters the picture. And arguably, I think it's the thing that makes Superman such a good character. It's the juxtaposition of the meek and mild weakling versus being the big, strong hero that can do anything. I think all of us understand both sides of that coin. There are times where we find ourselves in situations we're not really prepared to handle, and we feel very Clark Kentish, tripping over our own 2 feet, stumbling, bumbling, but then there are other times where we find ourselves in our element and we kind of lose our geeky, our less than perfect personas, and we find ourselves maybe in the flow state and we feel more like Superman. It's an interesting dynamic that, the angle of the Clark Kent pulling one over on Lois Lane is, as time has gone by, we've kind of, as a culture, moved away from that notion when it comes to superheroes in general, but even Superman in particular. A lot of the more modern iterations of the character, off the top of my head, I'm thinking Smallville, the Henry Cavill Superman Man of Steel movie, the Superman and Lois TV show, the new cartoon show, My Adventures with Superman, all depict a relationship between Lois and Clark that's not built on a lie. In all those more modern interpretations of the character, Lois is let in on the secret either before he becomes Superman or very early in his career. And it becomes less of a mean-spirited nerd getting over on the popular girl who rejected him, and becomes more of a Lois is in on the joke. It's her and Clark making that costume, that disguise work. And I've always been a big fan of the idea that Clark Kent is a thing Superman needs in order to stay sane. It's like, being Superman is like some cross between being a firefighter, a doctor, and a soldier all at once. And, even Superman can't be on call 24/7. He needs to be able to be human and breathe and enjoy the peace he helps create. Though I'm always a fan of classic ideas and ideologies, the idea of, the Lois, Clark, and Superman love triangle is something mythic in its proportions, because I think it really does speak to something true in humanity and in our ways we interact with each other. But just on the surface, I really prefer stories where Lois and Clark are a team, that they're in on each other's secrets and they've got each other's backs. They're not trying to trick or take advantage or hide things from each other. when I was growing up, I was not a huge Superman fan. I was big into superheroes. I liked Spider-Man. I liked Batman. I liked Power Rangers, but I always liked the iconography of Superman, the idea of the last son of a lost planet, and you're the most powerful man on Earth. I liked watching Lois and Clark, the TV show, the Superman the animated series. There was a Superboy series I can highly recommend that came out before all that in the 80s, but it never really clicked with me, not until the TV show Smallville debuted in 2001, and I was about the same age as Clark in that show, and so we went through high school together, college together, started dating, got jobs in the real world, moved out of our parents' houses, all around about the same time. So because of that, Superman has always become this kind of avatar for my better self ever since my early 20s. And here recently, there's been kind of a resurgence in the character, playing more on his humanity. Things like the cartoon show My Adventures with Superman, or the Superman and Lois TV show where he and Lois are parents to two teenage boys. Really kind of there's a time period where Hollywood and comics kind of got away from the man in Superman and focused more on, this remote alien visitor from outer space who doesn't know how to relate to us without, floating above us. And that is not the character. It's very, very important that you focus on the human aspect of Superman, because not only is that the most relatable part of him, that's the most interesting part of him. Why this man with unstoppable godlike powers would use them to pull cats out of trees and put out forest fires and what have you. Well, anyway, we're getting close to the end of the video, guys. I've done my little spiel. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. References coming up here in a second. Remember to like and subscribe. Thank you again for following along, and be sure to comment and let me know what of the different kinds of things I draw on this channel, what piques your interest more, what would you like to see me do more of. Thanks again, guys. Have a great day. See you next time.